So therefore, it is important and it is worthwhile to train oneself in this exchanging self for others. And benefit of this training or practice is that through this practice, one can increase our bodhicitta, one can accumulate more and more merit, and one can progress on the path. And also, such practice can be the direct cause to attain Buddhahood. And also, through this practice, it can remove the suffering and cause of suffering. So this is one of the main antidote to remove the suffering and to remove the cause of suffering. And also, through such practice, one can attain enlightenment faster. So normally in the Paramitayana, it says it will take 3 countless eons to attain Buddhahood. So here countless does not mean real countless. Countless means like number, like one with 59 zeros is called one countless eon. So that kind of eon is called one countless eon. So three countless eon is the time that one takes to attain Buddhahood from the time one develops the Bodhicitta. This is the time that takes, according to the Paramitayana teaching or tradition. But according to the Paramitayana, it also says, like this captain, the skillful captain that kills this evil person, because of this, he doesn't need to. For him, it does not take three countless eons. It is faster than three countless eons because of this training on exchanging self for others. So it will make faster. It will make faster to reach the enlightenment state. And also, if one does not practice this exchanging self for others, then one will still roam around in the samsara. One cannot gain liberation from this samsara. So we are saying this according to the Mahayana path. But according to the Charvaka path and the Bodhika Buddha path, they can still gain liberation without practicing this exchanging self for others. But according to the Mahayana path, we need this exchanging self for others in order to gain liberation. Not only to attain Buddhahood, but also to gain liberation, we need to practice this exchanging self for others. So without this practice, there is no liberation. And without liberation, then it means we will roam around, or we will be caught up in this cyclic existence without ending. So by knowing the reason or the benefit of training in such practice, and also by knowing the faults of not practicing the exchanging self for others, then it will encourage us to practice this. And now, the third one is to train in the conduct of the bodhisattvas. There are general conducts and others. First, the general conduct. So, feeling oneself to be happy or thinking oneself to gain happiness, that kind of thinking should be abandoned. And then one's own body, one's own wealth, one's own belongings need to be given to others. And and the virtues that we have accumulated through the practice of generosity and through the practice of keeping the pure moral conduct, etc., and the virtues that we are still accumulating, and the virtues that we will accumulate in the future, all these need to be given to others. All these virtues need to be given to others without any stinginess or without any malign thought. So we need to give all these to others for the sake of accomplishing happiness for the others. So by doing this or by giving these, then need to pray that may beings who don't have the food be able to get food. Those who are those who are suffering from thirst should be able to quench the thirst. Those who are poor be able to find inexhaustible treasures, and those who are sick may one be able to. So oneself is praying in such way. Oneself wish that oneself can help all these who are suffering from hunger and thirst and poverty, and those who are sick may one be able to help them as their nurse, etc. And those who wish to learn Dharma or those who wish to study Dharma, may one be able to become a Dharma teacher for them. Those who wish to cross the ocean or river, may I be able to become boat or ferry or bridge. And those who are on the journey, may I be able to become their guide, and those who are destitute, may I be able to become their protector, and those who don't have any refuge, may I be able to become their refuge, etc. So thinking, may oneself be able to become whatever they want or whatever they need. So in short, through the power of one's own virtues, one wish that one will be able to fulfill all the wishes of others by gaining their own needs. And that also not only a short time or not only a few amount, but inexhaustible ones. So these are the general training of the Bodhisattvas. Now there's a sixth perfection in order to ripen oneself. In order to accomplish the great purpose, one need to practice the sixth perfection. Actually, giving objects to others is a generosity, and this is general one. But then there are proper generosity and improper generosity. Not all the gifts are good. Not all the gifts are meritorious. For example, if a person is giving animals to a butcher without taking any money, then although it's a gift, but it's an improper gift to an improper object, improper person, which is the butcher. And also like giving meat or giving alcohol or giving other improper substance like giving weapons, etc. are gifts, but they are not proper gifts. They are not proper. They are not proper gifts. Yes. So within the generosity, there are two kinds: proper and improper. Improper can be determined not only through the object that is giving, but also improper can be determined through the intention. If one has the wrong intention, although the object is proper, but if one has a wrong intention, then still it is an improper practice of generosity. So to become an improper generosity, not only it depends on the improper object, but also it depends on the motivation, etc. And also like improper object, improper motivation, and improper time, etc. And generally speaking, the proper generosity is based on mental action. Actually, generosity is giving, but so giving is a physical action, but the real perfection of generosity is based on mind, not only on physical action. If it is based on physical action alone, then perfection of generosity means when there's no beggar at all, when all the beggars are normal or finished. Huh? When there's no more beggar, then it becomes perfection of generosity. But perfection of generosity does not mean when there's no more beggar. There can be still there still can be a beggar, but at the same time one can have the perfection of generosity. So it means the perfection of generosity is based on mental action, not only based on physical action. So perfection of generosity means from the mind wishing to give our belongings and our virtues, etc., etc., to all the sentient beings without any discrimination. Actually, it is said in the Bodhicitta Chaya Avatara, Kade Dowa Ulparwa, Jimbe Parochina, Tadung Doden Yanangan, Gyabachita Parochin, Dogba Tamje Deje de Gyo Kon La Tansumki, Jimbe Parochin Sontes. So it means if the perfection of generosity means there's no more beggar, then how the Buddhas has perfected the perfection of generosity? Because still there are beggars that we can see. So perfection of generosity means the mind that wish to give the objects and their and virtues or their results, etc., to all the sentient beings without any discrimination. That is called the perfection of generosity. Actually, I think that also, if we go through more detail, the real perfection of generosity means to have such wish which is sealed by the wisdom. Or we can say the real perfection of generosity, the real perfection of generosity is the generosity which is free from these three spheres course mimi bejimba. And actually, the generosity, the proper generosity also has four kinds. The generosity of giving dharma, or giving loving kindness, or giving fearlessness, and also the giving material gifts. So the material gifts is mainly practiced or need to be practiced by the layperson. For the celibate monks and nuns, they don't need to emphasize on the practice of material gifts, but they need to emphasize on the three other types of generosity, like giving dharma, giving fearlessness, and giving loving kindness. But for layperson, need to emphasize on all these four. And also that one can have improper generosity or giving because of the improper object. If one gives wealth to a rich person, then it's the improper object. If one gives wealth to a poor, then it is the right object. If one gives wealth to a rich person, then the object is improper. And improper means not only giving to a rich person, but also to others who don't need to receive. But if we just give it to them, then it's like improper. So they are improper because of improper object, or improper things to give, or improper motivation. So improper motivation means if one is giving in order to gain more respect from others, or in order to gain more fame or more praise, etc. So with such intention, if one gives, then it becomes improper. Although one is given to a right object, the right thing to give, but still it becomes improper. For example, even one gives food, or one offers food to Sangha members. So food is right object to give, right food is right object to give, and Sangha are the right receiver of such gift. But if one is giving with the wrong intention in order to gain more fame or respect, or any other mundane purpose, then still it is improper gift because of the wrong motivation. And moral conduct means abandoning the harmful actions through one's own body, speech, and mind, or abandoning the negative action is called moral conduct. So the moral conduct not only means to keep the physical and verbal actions from wrong actions. The main moral conduct is something that we need to keep from our mind, not only through physical and verbal actions. Actually, the real vow, like Bodhicitta vow, for instance, is, it's on our mind. So when we lost a statue, or when our statues are destroyed by others, etc., or when our statues are stolen by others, such action will not damage our own vows. But after that, if we get angry, then that anger can destroy our own vow. not by others stealing. Others stealing is others' action, not one's own action. Others' action will not damage our own vow. As it is said in the law of karma teaching, the result of our action will happen only on ourselves. It will not happen on Satan, earth, or stone, or to other beings. Our action will happen only on oneself. So if our statue is steal by other, then that is others' negative action. That is not our own negative action. So because of that, because it's others' action will not damage our own vow, not our own bodhicitta vow. But after that incident, if we feel angry, then that anger can destroy our own vow. Because the anger is coming from our own mind, not from others. So therefore, it is important to control our mind or to protect our mind through our mindfulness and alertness all the time. So sometimes one may think one can get angry in order to protect our own monastery, or in order to protect our own guru, or in order to protect one's own dharma objects. So for these reasons, one can get angry. But actually, one cannot get angry all the time. Anger is always negative action. Anger cannot be meritorious. Anger cannot help beings. Anger cannot serve the Buddha Dharma. Inner anger is always serious negative actions. Whether one is getting anger for the sake of monastery, or for the sake of guru, or for the sake of dharma objects, or for wrong purpose. So whether one is getting anger for spiritual purpose or mundane purpose, anger is always a negative action. So the real destroyer of our own vow is not the others, it's our own negative thoughts and actions. So we need to keep the moral conduct through our body, speech, and mind. If you don't do any negative action, or if you don't generate any negative thought, then no one can destroy our vows. Even they beat or even they kill us, still they cannot destroy our own vows. Because vows is something that cannot be destroyed by others. Our vows can be protected or can be destroyed by our own thoughts and actions, not by any other. Others can damage our vows by forcing us to do some negative actions, but that kind of negative action is incomplete. When one is forced to do these negative action, then at that time there's no preparation or no conclusion. Only the main part is there, only the action is there, but it's not a complete action. So therefore, such action can damage, but it won't destroy our vows. If one is forcefully asked to do some negative action by others. And then the third perfection is so what do you call tolerance or patience? Patience? Endurance. So endurance or patience or tolerance. So this perfection is also based on mind. Actually, there's a whole chapter on this in the Bodhisattva Charyavatara. So this is actually also a very profound or very vast topic. But in short, if our mind is not disturbed, if one can keep our peaceful mind all the time, even though we hear unpleasant speech or even though we receive harmful actions from others, no matter whatever harmful actions or harms that we receive from others, still, if we can keep our tranquil mind or peaceful mind, and if our mind is not disturbed, then that is called the patience and or endurance. And then fourth one is enthusiasm. Actually, the fourth one is not just effort, but it's as it is said in Bodhisattva Charyavatara, Zhenggang Gyala Zhou, which means putting effort in a virtuous deeds with great joy. That is the meaning of this fourth one. So one must have joy to do, not only putting effort, but also need the joy to do. If one is forced to do, then although you are putting effort, but it is not from your own wish, you are forced to do without any choice, then that is not called this fourth perfection. To have this fourth perfection, we must do by ourselves, with our own wish, with great joy. And that also need to put effort and with great joy on virtuous actions. If someone is putting great effort in negative actions, doing negative actions, then that is not called this fourth perfection or the enthusiasm. So this one is to do a virtuous deeds with great joy, with great effort and joy. And then there's the fifth one is concentration, which means to focus on the object single-pointedly without any distraction. And the sixth one is wisdom, which means the discriminative awareness. So out of these six perfections, the sixth one is the most important. It is said in many texts how important it is to have this wisdom. Without this wisdom, the other five are not called the paramita or perfection. Actually, paramita means like go beyond. Parutachimpa, go beyond, which means to go beyond the ocean of samsara, etc. And without the perfection of wisdom, one cannot go beyond the samsara. Without the perfection of wisdom, no matter how much practice that we do, we will still be in the samsara. We cannot go beyond the samsara. So therefore, without this perfection of wisdom, the other five are not called the perfections. And so therefore, it is said in the teaching that the perfection of wisdom is like the eyes to see on the path. If you have legs to walk on the path, but if you don't have eyes to see on the path, then it's difficult to go on the path, on the path or on the road. So perfection of wisdom is very important. Actually, it is the importance of wisdom perfection is mentioned in the Bodhisattva Avatara, in the Madhyamika Avatara, in the Abhidhamma Kosha, and also in other texts. So these are the six perfections that reference one's own purpose, or that reference oneself. And then the four collections of gathering, four means of gathering. Four means of gathering is to represent others. So four means of gathering. The first one is to give the material gifts. The right material gifts to right object with the right motivation. By doing this, then one can gather the people or gather the followers. And then second is the pleasant speech. After gathering these people, then you need to use pleasant speech. Like even one give teaching, one needs to use pleasant speech so that it can please the other's mind. And not only it can please the other's mind, but it gives them a joy to listen, and they don't feel tired or they don't feel sad about listening to the Dharma teaching. So through pleasant speech, one needs to give the Dharma teaching to others. And fourth one is called Tenchoba. Tenchoba consider. Purposeful conduct, Tenchoba. So third one is purposeful conduct. So purposeful conduct means, so some people, just by hearing Dharma, they don't want to practice. So for such person, by using skillful means, helping them to engage in Dharma practice or influencing them to practice Dharma is called the purposeful conduct. And the fourth one is acting with a harmonious purpose, which means not only guiding them to practice or not only influencing them to practice Dharma, but also oneself is leading with an example. Oneself is also doing the virtues, or oneself is also doing the Dharma practice. If one is not doing, if oneself just asks others to do Dharma practice without oneself doing the Dharma, then it is not correct. So the fourth one means oneself is also doing, oneself is also showing a great example in order for others to do Dharma practice. Oneself is also doing the Dharma practice with great joy and diligence. So these are the four means of gathering. And also there's like four qualities to be practiced when we practice these six perfections. The first one is one should be free of the opposing force of the sixth perfection. So when we practice these, we should not be stained by the opposite factors. And second, one should seal our practice. One should seal our practice with our own wisdom, or wisdom of the free from these three spheres, etc. And third, the result of each perfection is the complete fulfillment of the wishes of other sentient beings. So which means the practice that can fulfill others. And the fourth one, their activities are to completely ripen all sentient beings to the growth of three vehicles. It means through our practice, the object or the others be able to ripen on their own path, etc. And then also, when we practice, we need to practice without having these seven attachments. So first attachment is called the attachment to what is to be discarded. So we should not have attachment to the opposite factors. For example, when we are giving, if we have attachment or if we have stinginess, then it makes obstacle for us to give freely. Second attachment is attachment to postponement. Instead of giving today, if we delay our giving, or if we delay our giving by one day or by few days, etc., then it is not right. Especially if someone has sent us to give to a monastery or to guru, then if we postpone such giving, then it's serious negative. And third attachment is to grasping at contentment for insufficient practice. By doing little practice, one is content with such practice. By thinking, now this is enough, I have done enough. Although it's not enough, but just thinking this is enough practice. So such attachment is the third one, which we call attachment to grasping at contentment for insufficient practice. And fourth one is attachment to rewards for this life. Like, which means, for example, like giving. One is giving food to others with the expectation to gain something back, to gain something in return, like fame or respect or something else from doing this kind of thing. So this is called attachment to rewards for this life. Then attachment to reserve for the next life, which means in order to have more wealth in the next life, etc., with such intention, if one gives the object to others, then it is called the attachment to the to resolve for the next life. Then sixth one, attachment to the inclination of the opposing forces, an inclination or the propensity of the opposing forces, which means, for example, if one is practicing the generosity, at that time, the opposing factor is stinginess, and if one does not wish to abandon stinginess completely, then it means one still has the inclination of the opposing force or propensity of the opposing forces. And seventh attachment is attachment to distraction. Here, attachment or the attachment to distraction means not focusing or having attachment to these three spheres, or having attachment to lower vehicle, etc. So anyway, one should practice these with the four qualities and without these seven kinds of attachments. So with this, we finish today's session. So today's main topic is the exchanging self for others, and 6 perfection, and 4 means of gathering. And the practice part, in like preparation, is refuge and doing supplication prayers, and then the main part, which is these 3 topics, to practice on these 3 topics that we covered today. Then conclusion part is to do the proper dedication. So with this, we complete today's session. So now at the end, we do the proper dedication.